Okay, listener, imagine this. You open up your ride-sharing app and order a ride. But when the car shows up, there's no driver.
Sounds like something out of science fiction, right?
Well, that's the future Tesla's aiming for, and today we're taking a deep dive into exactly how they plan to pull it off.
And they're not thinking small. We're talking about a complete overhaul of how we think about transportation.
This isn't just some far-off dream either. They're already laying the groundwork, starting with a massive new factory in Texas.
Yeah, this factory isn't just about building more cars, though. It's about something much, much bigger.
So it's not just a case of more cars, more sales. What's the real strategy here?
It all comes down to data. See, Tesla's self-driving system, it's not based on some static set of rules. It actually learns and adapts with experience. Every mile driven by every Tesla out there is feeding information back into the system, making it smarter.
So more cars on the road equals more data, which then makes their self-driving system even better.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, but how do robo-taxis fit into all of this?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Tesla's ultimate goal isn't just to sell you a car. They're aiming to create a whole ride-hailing empire that could potentially take on the Ubers and Lyfts of the world.
Wow, so we're talking about a full-on revolution in the ride-sharing industry. But what gives Tesla an edge in a market that's already, pretty crowded?
Control. They have a level of control that other companies just can't match. Think about it. Uber, Lyft, they rely on a hodgepodge of different cars and independent drivers. Tesla, on the other hand, they control both the hardware, the vehicles themselves, and the software, that self-driving system we were just talking about.
It's like owning the whole bakery instead of just delivering bread for someone else. You've got way more control over the quality and efficiency when you're managing every step of the process.
Exactly. And that level of control is absolutely crucial when you're dealing with something as complex as self-driving technology.
Okay, so how is Tesla's approach to self-driving different from everyone else's? I mean, the article we have mentions this shift from heuristics to AI. What does that even mean?
Imagine you're trying to teach someone to drive. You could hand them a giant rule book, right? Tell them every single thing they need to do in every possible situation.
That's basically what traditional self-driving systems rely on, isn't it? A bunch of pre-programmed rules.
Right, and those are the heuristics. But the problem is, the real world is messy. You can't possibly account for every single variable with rules alone. Tesla recognized that.
So they ditched the rule book and took a different approach.
Exactly. Instead of relying solely on preset instructions, Tesla's AI is designed to learn from experience, just like a human driver. Every time a Tesla encounters a new situation, it collects data, analyzes it, and uses that information to improve its performance in the future.
So it's constantly learning and adapting as it encounters new situations.
Precisely. And here's the kicker. Because this learning process is happening across their entire fleet, every Tesla on the road is feeding into this massive knowledge base, making the system smarter and more adaptable over time.
It's like a hive mind for cars. Okay, that's fascinating, but this whole learning process, it needs a testing ground, right? Some way to push the system to its limits. Is that where the Cybertruck comes in?
It seems that way. Tesla's using the Cybertruck to push the boundaries of its full self-driving capabilities. They're testing it in challenging environments, like off-road terrain with unpredictable obstacles, things regular cars rarely encounter.
So the logic is, if the Cybertruck can navigate a muddy construction site, handling everyday traffic on normal roads should be a piece of cake.
Exactly. Think of it as Tesla's proving ground for its most advanced technology. If it works under those extreme conditions, it's a good indicator that it can handle the complexities of everyday driving.
It's like training an Olympic athlete. If they can handle the pressure of the games, they can handle anything. Okay, but all of this incredible technology, it can't be cheap to develop. How is Tesla planning on making all this commercially viable?
Well, they're banking on their subscription model for the full self-driving features.
So instead of paying for it all up front, it's more like, what, a Netflix subscription?
Yeah, exactly.
But will people actually go for this? I mean, paying a monthly fee for their car to drive itself, especially when, let's be honest, it's not quite perfect yet, right?
Yeah.
You still need to pay attention when you're behind the wheel.
It's definitely a gamble, no doubt about that.
It's a big risk.
But if they play their cards right, it could be a really smart long-term strategy, right?
How so?
Think about it. If Tesla can keep improving their technology, keep making it more reliable, safer,
Yeah.
then the value proposition for consumers, it starts to look really good.
Right, because then you're comparing it to Not just the cost of buying a car,
Exactly.
but also gas, insurance, maintenance.
All of that.
And if you could just, like, not worry about parking ever again,
Imagine
it'd be amazing.
the convenience factor alone would be huge.
Yeah.
But of course, that all hinges on Tesla actually delivering on their promise of, full self-driving.
And that's not a guarantee, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the technology is one thing, but then you've got all the other stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Regulations, safety concerns.
Yeah, all the ethical questions,
Yeah, all of that.
It's a huge undertaking.
Because it's not just about, like, can we make a car drive itself?
Right.
It's like, should we?
Exactly. And then you've got the whole regulatory landscape, which is different everywhere.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Different
nightmare.
countries, different states, even different cities.
So getting approval for a fully driverless robo-taxi service, that's,
Well,
it's a challenge for
it's
sure.
a whole other can of worms.
You've got insurance liability, data privacy, passenger safety. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, and then there's the ethical stuff we were talking about, right? Like,
Right.
how do you program a car to make those really difficult decisions?
The life or death kind of stuff.
Exactly. And who's responsible when something goes wrong?
It's tricky.
Yeah, these aren't easy questions. No, they're not. And there's no easy answers either. It's going to take a lot of discussion, a lot of collaboration between policymakers, the ethicists, the tech companies.
Yeah, everyone's got to be on board.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that this isn't just a technology story, is it?
No, not at all.
It's about society
It's about how technology impacts our lives,
and how we shape that technology.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just about the cars. Tesla's ambitions are clearly much bigger than that. They're talking about revolutionizing transportation as we know it.
Right. And that has implications for everything. Our cities, our environment, our economy.
Speaking of the economy, let's go back to this whole idea of your car making money for you.
Oh, right, the Robo-Taxi network.
That's right. So walk me through this. How would that actually work in real life?
Okay, so basically, in the future, you could have your Tesla, right?
Yeah.
And you could turn it into basically a self-driving taxi.
So while I'm at work, my car is out there giving people rides, and I'm just like racking up the cash.
That's the general idea.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd like set my car's availability through an app or something.
Yeah, exactly. You'd say, okay, my car's free from, 9 to 5 or whatever, and
And then
then
it just goes out and picks up fares like a regular taxi.
pretty much, yeah. Picks them up, takes them where they need to go, and then it's available for the next ride.
So it's like owning a rental property, but instead of a house, it's your car.
And without all the headaches of being a landlord,
No more dealing with tenants,
no more repairs.
no property taxes.
Exactly. Your car becomes an income-generating asset, essentially.
Wow. That's a complete game changer, isn't it? It's like your car's out there, earning its keep while you're not even using it.
Exactly. It's almost like investing in a tiny little business, except the business is your car.
And you don't have to worry about payroll or anything. But let's be real, this whole robo-taxi future, it sounds amazing, but I'm sure it's not all smooth sailing. What are some of the roadblocks Tesla's going to have to get past to make this happen?
Oh, there are definitely challenges. I mean, the technology itself is one thing, but then you've got the whole legal side of things to figure out.
Because, right now, there aren't really laws about cars driving themselves around with nobody in them.
Exactly. It's uncharted territory. Each country's got its own set of rules and regulations about cars, self-driving or not, and getting approval for a full-on, driverless robo-taxi service, that's going to be a long and complicated process.
It's not just about whether the technology works, it's about all those legal questions. Like, who's liable if something goes wrong?
Exactly. Insurance companies, regulators, they're all going to want to know the answers to these questions before they let a bunch of robo-taxis loose on the streets.
And then there are those ethical dilemmas we keep bumping into.
Yeah.
How do you program a car to make, moral judgments in a split second?
The trolley problem in real life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's easy to say a car should always choose the safest option, but what if there's no safest option? What if every possible outcome has a downside?
These are questions philosophers have been grappling with for centuries, and now we're expecting engineers to program those answers into a car.
It's a lot of responsibility to put on a machine and on the people who create those machines. It really makes you think about the bigger picture, doesn't it? This isn't just about technology. It's about how we want to live in the future.
It's about the kind of world we're creating.
Yeah.
And it's up to all of us to have a say in that, not just the tech companies.
So where do we go from here? What's the next chapter in the Tesla story?
Well, Tesla's not slowing down anytime soon. They're going to keep gathering data, keep refining their self-driving system. They'll probably start rolling out these robo-taxis in more cities as they get the green light.
Probably starting with places that already have, friendly regulations for this kind of thing.
Right. And they'll be keeping a close eye on the competition because they're not the only ones working on this.
For sure. The race to make self-driving cars a reality, it's heating up, and Tesla's trying to stay ahead of the pack. Well, listener, we've covered a lot of ground today. We talked about Tesla's ambitious plans to change the way we think about cars, about transportation, even about work. But now we want to hear from you. What do you think about all of this? Is Tesla on the right track? Is this the future of transportation? Head over to our website, find us on social media, and let us know. And until next time, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.